everybody, it's Alpha Pickle here today, and I have made quite a few things. Today we are going to automate, hopefully all of the processors in Applied Energistics I'm going to automate. So all these things we were making last episode with these inscribers that are kind of annoying because you can only make one at a time, we are hopefully going to be able to automate all of them today, and we should be able to. And to get all this stuff that we're going to use to automate it, in case you're trying to do it as well, it's not too expensive really if you've been in your world for a while. The worst part probably is going to be getting the pure Certus quartz crystals, because you do need, like, I think you only need one technically for one of the crafting items. I think it was this one, or maybe it was this one. Yeah, it was one of these. But you do need one pure Certus quartz at least. I think that's the only one I used. Everything else was just like gold and diamonds, so it wasn't too bad. But the reason these are kind of hard to get is because how you get them is you make the seeds, which you actually make with the Certus quartz dust and a piece of sand, and you'll see you get these 2 seeds. It says 0%, and I believe how these grow is in water. Very slowly, but you'll see particles right there. I don't know if you guys saw those, and slowly it will creep up in percentage, and you can get something called the growth accelerator. Right, crystal growth accelerator. I think it needs power, be connected to your AE network, and if you can put 4 of these beside it, you might be able to put a 5th one below it, but I know you can put 4, and it speeds up the growth. Pretty cool. But I'd totally just skip that step, and I would recommend skipping it if I was you, and just make the crystal growth chamber. It's really not that much more expensive. Instead of 4 of these crystal growth accelerators, you're going to need 6 for the crafting recipe, and then just the hopper, chest, and the glass cable. Pretty cheap. And that is this thing right here. Needs power. Probably does take a lot of power. I'm not honestly sure. And you can throw like 3 stacks of these in here if you want. The Certus quartz seeds, and if you look at it, it's just going up. It goes up fairly quickly, and the big advantage is like it's like a consistent speed, so it really doesn't take long in this thing. It's way better than throwing them in the water, in my opinion. But anyways, let's get going on this. All right, and just to show you guys, this is what you get out of the seeds. So it's 2 pure Certus quartz crystals. Anyways, I went ahead and put our inscribers down. I'm doing it with 5 of them, 5 of these ME interfaces, which are pretty cheap to make. They're really handy in this mod. They do a lot of awesome things. They're pretty cheap. That's the recipe for them. So we got all 5 of those. We want those on top. And then we got import buses. So import buses and AE import items into the system. So these are the import buses, and these are going to import items into the AE system. So as soon as we connect these with cables, it'll automatically send them into the system. And then we got the interfaces, which I believe connect to each other, so we'll just have to connect to one of those actually. And then the export buses, I don't think we actually need 5. We need 1 for redstone and 1 for silicone, I believe. And I think the silicone one's going to have to go below, if I remember right. I have made this setup before, but I'm just trying to think it through a little, so bear with me. Okay, so that's pretty much the infrastructure of the automating, or the inscribers that we want to automate. To actually automate things in the machine, in the AE system, so like in here, we're going to need a couple things attached to our little network we got going here. So first thing we are probably going to want is, for one, I think we're going to put a controller, and I'll show you what those do. I think we're going to put a controller right on top of that. So let's put the co-processing unit right there and the 1K crafting storage. So you can see those say online now. They kind of form a multi-block structure. I think this is the smallest system you can really make for auto crafting. So now if we place down ME pattern terminal, we'll just put it right, well, let's put it right here for now. I'm going to move all this upstairs in between this episode and the next one. I just wanted to go through the automating of this with you guys, and then I'm actually planning on finishing my house upstairs and stuff. I just wanted to do this video before I did that, and that way I can set up my whole AE network and get rid of all our storage upstairs. But yeah, so the pattern terminal, you take blank patterns, which pretty cheap to make, just like that. Okay, with the blink pattern, what we're gonna want to do is, first off, let's get silicone and redstone. These 2 items are always necessary in all your processors. So let's get, what are they called again? Yeah, we'll just type in processor. So the 3 processors, these we use a lot in a lot of crafting in Applied Energistics, so we want to automate them. So all of them are going to use redstone in the printed silicone, every single one of them. The only difference is obviously the circuit. So we're going to want to automatically export redstone at all times, and then this one we're going to want to be the silicone unit. So let's go ahead and make a silicone one, just like before. Okay, so one thing I did not make is the ME controller I mentioned a moment ago. We are going to need to make one of these just because how we have this set up, it's kind of a mess right now. We will need an ME controller, and I'll show you why. So to get one though, we need pure fluids crystals. So we haven't made these yet, I don't believe. They're the same as the other ones. They use the fluid seeds instead though. So fluix, dust, and sand to craft the seeds, and you grow them the same way in the water, or if you got one of these, we can just pop them in here and they'll grow pretty quickly. Soon as those are done, you get the pure fluids crystal, and with all that we can craft our ME controller. So basically in AE networks you have channels, and certain things use up channels on your system, and these basic glass cables we have can only have 8 channels on one line. So I believe this counts as one. So 1, 2, I don't know what the growth chamber does. The inscriber is not even on there, so we can take that off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for sure channels on our system right now. So if we connect this up, we got a buttload, because there's 5 right there, another 2 right here, and then the interfaces. So it'll basically have way too many channels. So when we connect it, it's gonna say device missing channel there at the top. So if we put a controller, we're gonna put it right here. Hopefully that'll be enough. I'm not sure that it will, because that's 5, 10. Yeah, that's not gonna be enough. So let's actually change this. Okay, that should work. So basically each side of the ME controller can output 32 channels, but the cable we're using right now can only do 8 because I haven't upgraded it yet. Again, I'll do that when I move upstairs off camera. So this cable can only have 8 channels on a line. So we should be good. We got 5, 6, 7 right there. It looks like they're all online. But we're going to have to connect these guys to the other side of the ME controller, because if we connect it right here, it's going to have too many channels on these lines. So we'll just do that for now. Everything should be connected now to the AE network. Now we got to program our patterns. And I went ahead and made all of these just by hand, because you do need them to kind of set up the crafting recipes a bit easier anyways. So first off, we want to program that. If I can get one of these, that'd be great. One of these will make 1 printed silicone, and as you can see, we can't put that in there. So how you make things that aren't from a crafting table is you have to hit this right here, change it to a processing pattern, and then it'll let you put in whatever you want. So you can technically put in like this, but if you do that, your system's going to be kind of messed up, because obviously 1 silicone is not going to make you 2 calculation processors, but 1 silicone will make us a printed silicone. So we'll go ahead and encode that pattern, and then let's go ahead and get all these real quick. I'll do a couple more on camera so you can see. So printed calculation circuit is going to make us a calculation processor, so we'll encode that. Okay, so I went ahead and got these encoded patterns. We are going to need a few more, but this is a good start. So all of these we are going to want, basically I think this one and these 2 in here. So basically if we send a logic processor, a calculation processor, or an engineering processor to this inscriber, it's going to make whichever logic circuit corresponds to that. So that's what we want, and I think we'll actually, yeah, we'll already see them in here. So since we got the crafting network right there, you can see we could click here and click craft, which it's not going to do it because it's going to say missing printed calculation circuit. And we could put some in there. So if I put one in there, I think it will craft. I think everything else is set up. Actually, one thing we still got to do is to make that, we have to set up this bottom export bus from the system to be putting printed silicones in there, and I don't think we have any in the system. So if we throw our printed silicone in there, it's going to get taken out. As you saw, it's going to put it right there where we want it. So these will always be full. basically. They should be anyways. So if these are always full, as long as we hit the one we have in the system, the calculation one, we should be able to automatically craft it. And let's see if it pops up. There it is. You guys see, we got 1 now. So obviously that's somewhat automated, but we had to put the processor in there, or the circuit, I guess it would be. So we had to put the circuit in there to get the actual processor, which we do not want to do, obviously. So to automate that, all we got to do is set up the crafting recipes again. So 1 pure Certus quartz will make us, man, I want 1, not a whole stack. So 1 Certus quartz, we're gonna need 1 gold and 1 diamond. So the gold one obviously makes the printed logic. These, oh, got it in code, almost forgot. The pure will make the one that I just used, so I'll have to make a new one. I'll do that off camera. And then the diamond will make us the engineering circuit, so just like that. So we can go ahead and put those 2 in, and we'll basically want to set them up with the corresponding inscriber. So the only thing we got to do, so if we put the engineering one in here, it's going to say 1 diamond makes 1 engineering circuit, but we also need to make sure we put the press in there, the corresponding one. So now if we export a diamond here, it should start running and make us what we want. So again, with the gold one we have set up, we can go ahead and put the logic one in this one. And then we have the silicone one already set up, so we can go ahead and put the silicone press. Now I'll just have to make one of the calculation ones and we should be set up. Last but not least, let's throw that pattern in. And now in theory, if we take, so you'll see these recipes popped up to the circuits, but let's go ahead and take the logic processor out of here. So we have no logic circuits or processors in here, and if we say to make one of them, it should start the process for the logic circuit, and then that will start the process for the logic processor. One thing I did forget is we don't have a system to automatically make the printed silicone. We do, but it doesn't know when to. So like right now it doesn't know it's empty. We'll have to set that up later. That's a bit more complicated. But if we go over here, we'll see it's struggling because we don't have any of the silicone ones. You can hit cancel. So you just go open it up using one of these. It doesn't matter which one you click, and you just hit cancel or cancel the process. And we'll go ahead and make like 10 of these so we have them on hand. All right, now I can demonstrate it. Somebody was probably yelling at me. I was being a bit of a doofus on my setup. So now if we click this, I believe it should actually craft it finally. And there we go. There's number 1 and number 2 should be coming in any second. There it is. So it is up and running. It's kind of messy, but we should be able to craft all 3 of the processors now. So let's try a diamond one. Anyways, what I had to change is these needed to be on the side. It's been a while since I've used AE, so I kind of was fumbling through it, but I seem to have figured it out. Wasn't that big a deal. Just had to move all these down on the side, put their patterns back in, and it's working. It's just because these are in the top slot and we have to put the gold or whatever item we're putting in the side. That's the only reason we had to change that. And this one can still stay on top because we're putting the circuit. Man, why can't I ever remember the name? So we're putting the circuits in there to craft the actual processor. So that should come through. Did our 2 diamond ones come through? Or did we only make 1? I can't remember. Let's go ahead and craft all these processors we have up. So we got 2 gold and 1 diamond, so we might as well make it. There's a lot of things you can do with the interface on these terminals. Several different items, like you can sort, obviously. I mean, view, this is the important one that I care about right now. So we can do stored / craftable, just the stored items, so it won't show us stuff that's craftable. You don't see any recipes anymore. And then we can do just craftable. So can be useful, obviously. Since we got 2 gold ones and 1 diamond, we'll go over to just craft, and we will make 1 diamond and 2 gold. And it's not going to let us start the gold one until that diamond one's finished because we only got 1 crafting co-processor in our AE network. We're going to have to add more to make more advanced crafting recipes and such, which we're going to have quite a bit, obviously, because we can use these interfaces on pretty much everything, including thermal expansion machines, and craft some pretty nifty stuff with very ease. And we are out of printed silicones. Oh no. So let's actually go in here and craft like 10 of those. There it goes. Alright, I will be right back. That's actually gonna be it for this episode today, so hopefully everybody enjoyed, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.